This not so much of a sedan nor an SUV was introduced at the 1996 Chicago Auto Show and finally went on sale in February 1997 with either a front-wheel drive or an all-wheel drive option. The car is suitable for light trail driving and camping trips with its rugged black trim, bumper, and its picnic table stowed away in the rear of the car above the tire. Yes, it has a picnic table. Well, this all sounds great, but just how reliable is the first gen Honda CRV from 1996 to 2001? Well, welcome back to Watch This First. Today, I'll be breaking down the reliability and common issues of this Honda CRV to better educate you about your ride or your future purchase. No, I am not saying do not buy this car over some issues. That would just be crazy, as all cars have issues. This is basically just a few things to check out first, and you may need to do further research. Let's get started. So I just talked about this pretty cool rugged black trim that I actually like a lot. It really sets the mood for this car, yet the trim itself does fade over time. Because of that, the car can look old and, well, dull. You have a few options to fix this. Either remove the plastics and paint them, or simply use some Cerakote wipes to renew the plastics. Now, Project Forum here on YouTube did a test on these wipes, and Cerakote beat all of the competition by miles, mainly due to its ceramic coating. I have links to other products and parts down below for your convenience, so you can check that out. The CRV can develop an issue where the rear diff shudders and has a groaning noise during tight turns. This is mainly due to the fluid deteriorating over time. The fluid should actually be changed pretty routinely with Honda dual pump diff fluid about every 24 months or 24,000 miles. It's easy to do, so doing it routinely shouldn't be an issue. Basically, get under the car with a drain pan, remove the oil from the diff, then add new oil. You can attach a soap pump to the oil bottle and pump it in that way if you don't have anything else. Adjusting the valves in these engines are something that should be added to the routine maintenance list as well. Basically, due to the design of this particular motor, the valves tighten over time and the exhaust valves burn due to very minimal clearance. All it takes is a feeler gauge, a YouTube video, and removing the valve cover to adjust the valves. Not very hard, but a little tedious. It is worth doing so you don't have to replace a valve in the future. Everywhere in the planet, the recommended maintenance is to adjust them every 30,000 miles. However, in the US, it's every 100,000 miles. Honda did this because Honda had a lot of critique from America for having a bit more maintenance than normal. Every 100,000 miles would be fine, but it's better to be safe than sorry. If you have a burnt valve, you may experience rough idle, misfires, power loss, sputtering, and yeah, adjust them valves. It's easy. Suspension issues. The front lower control arm bushing fails over time, which may cause the car to vibrate through the steering wheel, cause clunky noises, uneven tire wear, and a pulling steering wheel. You can either replace the control arms themselves, which would be the easiest thing to do, or push out the bushings and push in new ones. And the trailing arm bushings can fail. Basically, this will make the car feel like it's somewhat floating as it is driving because the bushing rips completely through. You can either hammer it out for like an hour like this dude.
Come out.
Or you could get the proper tool and press it out. But as you can see, it's kind of expensive. It might be worth the price if you're planning to own the CRV for a very long time. And finally, the sway bar endings in the front and rear start to make a clicking noise over bumps, and you'll just have to replace them with new ones, which isn't all that hard as well. The B20 engine can leak oil. The valve cover is one leak, and all you have to do is replace a gasket and you're good to go. Easy replacement, but you can ultimately run low on oil and blow your motor if you happen to neglect this issue and not pay attention to the oil level. Then the oil pan gasket can leak, and that can be easily changed when you change the oil. The cam seal plug can also leak, which is near the valve cover, which is a super easy replacement. And finally, the crankshaft seal can also leak. This one is actually a bit of a challenge, and it requires you to lower the engine, remove the crankshaft pulley itself, but it's possible by a DIYer in my book. The timing belt also fails around 140 to 150,000 miles. It is recommended to replace the belt every 100,000 miles or so. If the car you're buying is high miles, make sure it has been replaced or expect to do this job pretty soon, because if that belt breaks, you can damage the engine as it's an interference engine. And be sure you factor in that price to the car when you buy it. Now, while you are replacing the timing belt, go ahead and replace the water pump, because the water pump is driven by the timing belt. That thing can fail, and it's known to fail. And if you do the belt and not the water pump, you'll be biting yourself in the butt for not replacing the water pump when you were in there the first time, since it is somewhat common for these things to leak. So go ahead and replace the pump. Usually the timing belt kits come with the water pump anyways. The transmissions in these CRVs have an internal filter that can't really be cleaned by removing it. Because of that, the filter will clog and cause bad shifting and shuddering, especially if the fluid hasn't been changed routinely as recommended. The interwebs say to replace it every 90,000 miles, but I'll replace it every 50,000 miles. The transmission does not have to be rebuilt unless it's been like this for a pretty long time. Then you might have issues. However, the fix is easy. Replace the fluid 2 to 3 times and the car should be able to shift just fine. Drain the fluid, refill it with Honda Trans Fluid, or what a lot of people use is Valvoline Max Life. Drive it 100 or so miles, then change it again. Do it about 2 to 3 times. Basically, doing that cleans the filter. Now, if you are currently looking for a Honda CRV, then the first gen or the second gen are the best choices in my opinion. Be wary on the second gen because of the Black Death, which can ultimately cost you a lot of money. Now, if you want to learn more about that, I'll have a video linked down below. The first gen CRV does have a few issues that you may run into, but that is expected with most older vehicles. These B20 CRVs are known to last over 400,000 miles if you take proper care of it. If you liked what you saw, then I'll see you in the next video. This is Chris AutoMotivate. Always appreciate and respect one another. I'll see you next time.